your coach, Doug Peterson, pulled Jalen Hurts with Philly down by 3. Nate Sudfeld came in for the first time since 2018 and had 2 turnovers in his first 2 drives. Duh. Washington got the win and the NFC East crown. Everyone, including the Giants, wanted to know what went into the decision. Let's listen.
Were you coaching to win tonight?
Yes, I was coaching to win. Yes, that was my decision solely. Nate has obviously been here for 4 years. And I felt that he deserved an opportunity to get some snaps. And listen, if there's anything out there that thinks that I was not trying to win the game, I mean, you know, Ertz is out there, Brandon Graham's out there, Darius Slay's out there. You know, all our top guys are still on the field at the end. So we were going to win the game.
You have an issue with how Doug Peterson coached last night.
I have no issue with this, none at all. And I got so many laps, so many layers. The reason I have no issue with it is because we are mad at the outcome. We're not mad at the action. Oh. We're not mad at the action of putting Nate Sudfeld in or pulling Jalen Hurts. We're mad at the outcome that Nate Sudfeld didn't play well. If Sudfeld would have played as well as he did the last time we saw him play meaningful football, this would be a non-issue. Let me put some context around this if we can. Jalen Hurts' last 20 drives of the season, he was 25 for 56. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions, with a 44% completion percentage. Jalen Hurts' last 20 drives of the season, he was 25 for 56, no passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 44% completion percentage. League average is 65. Now, the last time we saw Nate Sudfeld play meaningful football, he was 19 for 23. Actually set an NFL record for completion percentage in the regular season.
What year was that?
That was 2017. Nate Sudfeld actually got tendered, a second-round tender, because of what the Eagles had seen from him. So we're mad because Nate Sudfeld played terribly. We're not mad because Jalen Hurts got benched for Nate Sudfeld. We're mad because Nate Sudfeld didn't play well. Let's put everything in context. Eagles fans, if you want to be upset that Carson Wentz was inactive. Be upset that Miles Sanders was inactive. Be upset that Dallas Goedert was inactive. But there's not an actual reason to be upset based upon the action. You can be upset based upon the outcome. So I'm going to give it to you like this before I end my first
Give it to me. Give it to me, baby.
The Eagles had every right, if you will, to go out there and pull Jalen Hurts. I don't think Doug Peterson was trying to lose. When games have now become meaningless, you get other people opportunity. There's a reason that the Chiefs didn't play Patrick Mahomes, because that game was meaningless. There's a reason that the Steelers didn't play Ben Roethlisberger, because that game was meaningless. When the score gets out of whack in a regular season game, there's a reason you pull out your starters or put in your backups to get other people opportunity when a game has become meaningless. The Eagles' game was meaningless. So if you want to put Nate Sudfeld, the backup quarterback, in, particularly when Jalen Hurts has not been playing well for 20 straight drives, I don't see what the big issue is.
You saved your best point for last. I give you that last point. When it's a meaningless game, you go out there and let everybody audition. But this game wasn't meaningless. It was in the win-loss column in terms of getting into the playoffs. But it wasn't meaningless in terms of a coach fighting for his job and some players fighting for their position. So meaningless can't be so grand. It can't umbrella everything when it comes to a team. You've been on a team before. Matter of fact, you've been on this team before. Right. And by that take, it sounds like the checks are still cashing from the Eagles. I thought they said Fox on them. They say P-H-I. You still getting paid by the green. Boy, you had them Thanksgiving knives out today, carving up Jalen Hurts. Oh, let me see, last 20 drives. Let me cut this up and then speak to America. Stop talking to America like this. This was a bad decision that was culminating into a worse result. A bad decision that turned into something even worse than the decision was. Why was it a bad decision? Because be real, why would you ever take someone out of the game when they're in a game that they're only down by 3 and it really should be tied? You're in striking distance when you talk about this game. This was a close game. This was a one-possession game. And Jalen Hurts is like, yo, can I keep fighting? I mean, you put me in a position to fight. Can I keep fighting? And no, he wasn't allowed. Now, let me talk about why he wasn't allowed, because I've been in this exact same position. This was a muscular move by management. Upstairs, Coach Peterson is now a political puppet for the organization. And I saw it happen before from someone I dearly respect, a tremendous coach in Wade Phillips. Let me give you a little history lesson here, youngster. Ralph Wilson was the owner of the Buffalo Bills. I remember sitting down with Ralph Wilson one day. We was in the lunchroom, all the team eating. You know how we be. And every now and then, randomly, the owners show up, and we sitting there, we cutting it up with them for real. Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Andre Reed, me. I don't know why I'm at that table, but I'm sitting there with all these guys, right? And then one time we said, how does it feel to know that you have more money than everyone in this room added up, combined plus profit? And he just giggled and took his nuggets and walked away. Here's the thing. The reason I bring his name up in this situation, we had a quarterback controversy. Rob Johnson, Doug Flutie. In short, back and forth in the lineup, Doug Flutie was hotter. Rob Johnson was the prototype and had all the money invested in him. Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts. All that working. All of a sudden, before a meaningless game against Indianapolis, you know what? Coach is like, Doug Flutie, you sit down. You go out there, Rob Johnson, you play. But, Doug, you'll be playing in the playoffs. Okay, we're good with that. Fine, it's a meaningless game. Come back for the playoffs, Tennessee Titans, Music City Miracle Weekend. Guys, I have an announcement to make. We're going to allow Rob Johnson to start. Wait a minute. You just said. And that's what just played out right here before our eyes. The organization upstairs, instead of trying to remove doubt at the quarterback position, try to create doubt so they can have as many opportunities to do what they want to do in the offseason. What a sham that he tried to run on everybody.
No, bro, it's not even sham. It's not a shame. It's not a shanny thing.
Oh, I've been through it.
And let me break it down for several reasons. Number one, you can't have it both ways. If Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback in the future of the Eagles, then first thing, keep him on the bench so he doesn't get hurt. Right? Like, I'm going to give you two trains of thought. If Jalen Hurts is your future, then you shouldn't play him in a meaningless game so he doesn't get hurt. For the same reason the Chiefs don't play Mahomes, it's the same reason Roethlisberger didn't play with the Steelers. For all those same reasons, you want to protect your future. They are playing in the playoffs. Eagles are playing for the future. Please, go ahead.
But Coach, that rule is off when we are not in the playoffs talking about our franchise quarterback. That rule applies for teams that have something to play for that season. That rule is now off when we're, look, I've been a franchise player playing in a meaningless game, not going to the playoffs. I wasn't a quarterback, but I saw a quarterback out there as well, because that bet is off when we know that we're done after this week.
Understood. True? That's true. Okay. That's true in part, but different teams have different philosophies. True. But there are two trains of thought. If Jalen Hurts is your future, then let me go ahead and sit him anyway. The Eagles sat Carson Wentz. Like, why aren't we talking about that, Sel? That's what I don't understand.
Because he's a bum.
But Carson Wentz is either the second best quarterback on the team or the first, depending on if you're a Carson Wentz apologist.
Yep.
But I know what he's not. He's not the third. I know what Carson Wentz isn't. He's not the third best quarterback on that team. So if we're going to talk about anything, let's talk about that. But I digress. If Jalen Hurts is your future, sit him to protect him. If he's not your future and you're still deliberating, then why wouldn't you want to deliberate and see what you have in a guy who started the season as your number 2? Week 1 of the NFL season this year, Jalen Hurts was inactive. Why was he inactive? Because Nate Sudfeld was number 2 and Carson Wentz was number 1. Jalen Hurts was your second-round pick. So if Nate Sudfeld was all that bad and not even worthy of consideration, 1, why is he on the roster? 2, why did he start the season at number 2? So, Sel, with either way you look at it, if Jalen Hurts is your future, then you can protect him. Or if you're still deliberating, then you want to see what you got. But it doesn't matter how you slice it. Doug Peterson was not in the wrong in that situation.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. All right, I already corrected the first point because, you know, different teams do different things. That's what you had to land on instead of realizing, yeah, it does happen in the NFL that way. Second one, you're saying, why is Nate Sudfeld starting and Jalen Hurts is inactive for game 1? Was there a preseason?
No, sir.
Was there an off-season?
No, sir.
Was Jalen Hurts drafted this year?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So you know what? You know what's interesting? He ain't gonna beat out Carson Wentz at $128 million. So you know what they do? They just go with seniority. I've been there before. How many times, Acho? I switched high schools. Let me tell, all right, statute of limitations, all right, so I can't get in trouble. I switched high schools. I got recruited to go to one high school, went there for 2 years, got recruited to go to my second high school. Your boy was a beast. Anyway, I'm getting recruited to go to high school. I went to my second high school. Guess where I got recruited? They said, you're our starting tailback. One of them, we ran a wing team. Guess what they told me day 1 at practice? You're our third string running back. Why? Because dudes had been there, knew the playbook, knew the system, and they didn't want to ruffle any feathers. But when week 1 came around, guess who was starting at tailback? Me. Sometimes the depth chart is just based on we got to respect our status quo.
That's true.
But guess what? This season was different. No preseason to kind of jump the depth chart, and no offseason to jump it. So how can you justify it to a team and say we're going to put Jalen Hurts in that situation? That's all that was. Now, here's my point that I have to make about this. Be real, because I witnessed this with Wade Phillips, a tremendous coach. 11-5, 10-6, playoffs first 2 years. Third year, 8-8, no playoffs after that incident. You know what was interesting watching Wade Phillips? How we had to look at him differently, how we had a bubble of doubt of every word that came from him because we didn't know if it was coming from Ralph Wilson and ownership, and also how the media started to portray the same team with the same amount of talent. It's crazy. Doug Peterson just put himself in position where everything that comes out of his mouth and every move going forward, be real about this. If you're on that team, you're like, Coach, you weren't playing to win. When we're out there sacrificing our bodies, you're not playing to win.
I'm glad you went there.
I doubt
I'm
you.
so glad you went there.
Coach.
Because I got to be real with y'all, America, because nobody else will.
Finally.
Marcellus clearly won't. Nobody on Twitter will. Promise that. Who really cared that the Eagles lost last night in the locker room?
The Giants.
In the Eagles locker room.
Oh,